Hey everybody, it is Cliff from Byte Me Podcast. I spent all day yesterday at PAX, that's Saturday. Saw, I think 14 games we're going to talk about, so we might split this video into two. We'll see kind of how long it ends up being. I just can't get over how many amazing games I'm seeing at PAX these days. I'm kind of staying away from AAA stuff because I figure I'm going to see all that eventually anyway. That stuff's going to come out and I'm going to buy it. Or rent it or whatever. But what I'm really focusing on is really good indie games that you may not see otherwise. So let's get into it. All right, first game we're going to talk about is called Sparklite. To say that this game is inspired by Zelda is probably giving it, maybe a little too much credit. I mean that in an entirely good way. It looks a ton like A Link to the Past. It plays a ton like A Link to the Past, and I enjoyed every second of it. But apparently it's not exactly like that. It's kind of a roguelike RPG, so there's going to be probably some roguelike elements. There's not a ton out about this game yet, to be honest. Just what it looks like and how it plays was absolutely terrific. You play Ada, an inventor. It looks like a good portion of the game is going to be about collecting things in order to make new like little gadgets and machines and so on and so forth. But it definitely has RPG elements, definitely has those kind of collecting elements. Really, really, really enjoyed the demo that I played yesterday. It's coming out right now on PC and consoles. I don't have a lot of information about what consoles means. That may be Xbox, PlayStation. Hopefully it's Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, because this would be a perfect game on the Switch. I believe it's coming out next year, so keep an eye on Sparklite. All right, next game we're going to talk about is Double Cross. This is a really, really, really fun platformer where you play as that lady right there, and she has that cool ability, which is just kind of one of the things that she can do. She's a special agent that can cross into other dimensions than ours. Like, for instance, the demo we played was a dimension where dinosaurs still existed, like they had never gone extinct. Lots of fun platforming. I'll be honest, this looks like an older version of the game that I played. The version I played looked a little bit more refined than this. Super fun, really kind of frantic gameplay. That pulling mechanic was really cool. Yeah, see, there's one of the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs are so cute. I felt almost bad hitting them. But a lot of really cool things you could do, to the point of where there was a couple times yesterday where we did things in the demo that the guy doing the demo was like, oh, shoot, I didn't know you could do that. So kind of some kind of gameplay that, is going to be different for everyone who tries it. So this is coming out on the PC and the Switch soon, I believe. I don't remember the exact release date. Okay, I did a little bit of research. This game is not out yet. Coming soon. It was listed as a summer 2018, so you've got to think this is going to be out any day. I would guess it's going to be a PC release first and then come out on the Switch. But I played the Switch version. It also looked terrific. So keep an eye on Double Cross. Okay, so yesterday at PAX, I actually played two games where you play as, like, Death or the Grim Reaper. This one, Felix the Reaper, is the first. It's a puzzle game where your dancing Reaper, this dude, like, puts on the headphones and gets dancing. Has a great soundtrack, too. Has to stay in the shadows of the game. So you actually rotate, like, a sundial to keep yourself in the shadows, because you're the Grim Reaper. You have to stay in the shadows. And what you're essentially doing is each one of these, like, puzzle arenas you're setting up someone to die. So, like, in the one that I played, it was a hunter who was out hunting some sort of, like, giant deer thing with his buddy. The plan was the friend had to die, and so I had to figure out how to get to the friend, pick him up, and then take him over to the place where the spear was going to be, and then let things play out. The spear goes through his chest, he dies. It's really, really, really fun and kind of challenging. Has a great art style and has kind of an interesting little sub-twist in that the Reaper here is in love with, so he's Death, he's in love with Life, who is actually a woman in this game. And so part of his deal is he became a Reaper because he wants to be able to maybe hang around and meet her after reapings, because where there's life, there's death, so on and so forth. And it's funny, but the game's really tongue in cheek. They're like, it's not strictly against the rules, but it's kind of frowned upon. So definitely one you're going to want to check out. It's a PC game. It's I believe PC only, coming out this year. So check it out. Looks like pretty soon. All right, next game we are going to talk about is Lonely Mountains Downhill. This is literally a downhill mountain biking game. They had a challenge where you could play to beat the developer's time in this game. I tried. I did not even finish. It's really, really challenging, but a lot of fun. And like you can see, just this gorgeous low poly kind of game with some occasional blood. Things don't always go well. In fact, if you're me, things often did not go well. It's really cool, coming out next year for PC and all the consoles, including Switch. There's actually a 1-minute demo of it, I believe, on the PC if you want to try it out right now and see if you can fare better than I can. The reality is everyone can probably fare better than I can. Really, really interesting game. This is actually an interesting one. It's being put together by a group called, let's see, Thunderful, which is like an indie dev collective that includes the folks that made SteamWorld Dig 2. So they're all coming together to essentially make their own publisher. It's 3 different indie developers that are forming this group. So probably something, I think Thunderful is probably a group to watch out for. Anyway, this is Lonely Mountains Downhill. All right, another game from the folks at Thunderful, or being published by them anyway, is this game. It's called Flippin Death. This is the second game I played as the Grim Reaper. It really, 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 really funny. Like, this is a game that, I probably demoed for 10 minutes and laughed out loud 12 times. You play as this character who accidentally died in a car accident. I mean, not that anyone dies on purpose in a car accident, but died and then went, not to hell necessarily, but wherever the Grim Reaper lives, and was like, no, this is obviously a mistake. She goes up to Death. Death thinks she is the person that was sent to be his temp while he goes on vacation. So you all of a sudden are the Grim Reaper, and you have to go around possessing people and solving mysteries. The game is absolutely just stunningly gorgeous, has a super unique art style. Has a really interesting mix of like 2D and 3D, but also just eye-popping colors. Really, really pretty. And the great news is this is actually out now, so you can get it on PC and all the consoles, Xbox, PS4, and Switch. So take a look at Flipping Death. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised if you like kind of funny adventure games. All right, next game we've got here is called Zombie Rollers. That's Rollers with a Z. This is actually the second like pinball-themed game I've played in the last little bit. The first one obviously being Yoko's Island Express. But this is a pinball-based tower defense game. So you are this kind of machine at the end, and you're getting attacked by zombies, and you actually use like the power of pinball to fight them off. So you can see you launch the ball, and then those big things at the end there are actually flippers. Yeah, right there you can see them flipping. And then you whack the pinball at the incoming baddies, and it bounces off things, and it'll do, when you're playing pinball and you bounce off the bumpers, it's like ding, 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 ding. It'll do that off of the bad guys. There's all sorts of secrets you can unlock. There's items you can pick up. You can upgrade all the different, all your different like strengths, and you can get extra lives. You can do all sorts of cool progression type stuff. So this is coming out soon for at least the PC. That's what I played it on. Not a ton of information, actually. So we'll assume PC. Maybe it'll show up some other places too. Great game, though. Really enjoyed it. Okay, next game we're going to talk about is called Gollum. This is by Longbow Games, who is a developer out of Canada that's really well known for their kind of real-time historical strategy games. I asked like why you'd go from making, a very specific type of game. They've been making these games for like decades, literally, to making a kind of it's 3D-ish action platformer with a lot of puzzle solving. They're like, really just wanted to try something different. And I think you have to really respect that. We played the entire demo of this game, and the idea is you're this girl and you have this golem with you. And when it starts out, it's literally just a ball that you have to kind of push everywhere. But as you progress through the game, you can see it gets a body. And and the entire game is just based around solving puzzles and moving through these different levels. But the move mechanic's really interesting. You don't actually physically like hit, right on the controller to get your character to move. It's all done, and I think on the PC it's a little bit more like, hey, you click in a location and she moves to it. On the Xbox or the consoles, I suppose, or if you're using a controller, you actually have a little box that kind of you highlight where you want to go to, and it creates this really interesting like constellation pattern, and she moves throughout the level that way. Puzzles that were challenging, but not like overly challenging, at least in the demo, but a lot of fun, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Like, you can tell from the video here that it's a gorgeous game, but in real life it's even prettier. Super enjoyable. It was one of the PAX kind of choices for they have like PAX featured games that indies can apply to be, and it was one of those. So absolutely fantastic game. I think this will be really interesting to people that like it. You can actually buy this right now. It's $15 on Steam. Console's coming soon, so check out Gollem. All right, so this game's called Modsork, and if you're one of those people that can like pat their heads and rub their tummies at the same time, this game might be for you. So that thing there in the middle is actually formed by you independently moving each of your thumbs to create that kind of lightsabery effect in the middle. So your left thumb might be the red one, your left thumb might be the red one, your right thumb might be the blue one, and then you can spin those independently to create things like that. It's way, way, way harder than it sounds, but it creates really, really cool experiences. And I think once you get the hang of it, this game is going to be absolutely perfect for. I was talking to the developer, and he said, what he really likes about this game is it's something you can pop in and play for just a couple minutes and get a screen out of the way, and then put it down. You don't have to sink in hours and hours and hours of time. Now, of course, this is going to be on the PC, and you will need a controller to do it. You can actually get it in early access right now, but it's also coming out to the Switch, which might even be a better platform for it. So it's not out yet, but it will be coming out soon. So keep an eye on Modsork. All right, we are talking about Stone Story RPG now, and one thing I can tell you is that this is the only game I saw at PAX that is made entirely using ASCII characters. So literally everything you're seeing here on the screen is created by hand using just things you can type on your keyboard. But the cool thing is it actually mixes that a little bit with particle effects and more modern kind of effects you can only get via, a modern computer. So this is taking a very, very old style game and mixing it with some kind of modern kind of video game development techniques. It's incredibly interesting to see in real life. And you'll look at, you're just like, how did they animate these things using just ASCII characters? But that it really feels like a very, very full-fledged deep game that we really enjoyed playing the demo of. So keep an eye on Stone Story RPG. It's coming out early next year on PC and would be available on Steam. So check that out. So when I was kind of doing my pre-PAX look at things, Soundfall was one of the games that I kind of saw floating around on Twitter a bit, and it's even better in real life. So that you play the part of a character that has been pulled into a world of music. And so everything about this game is based on rhythm and beat. So you can see that metronome at the bottom. That's the beat of this song. You get bonuses for killing things or hitting things on beat. Each level has to be beaten, or I guess a lot of beats here. You have to finish each level before the song for that level ends. So everything around this is just based on music. It has an incredible soundtrack, just a really thumping, cool electronic music. I can't say enough about how much energy there was with this game, and you can just see all the particles, and it's bright and it's colorful, and with the music, it's just incredible. Go watch this trailer on its own so you can actually hear the music. You won't believe how great it is. So coming out next year, I believe, for PCs and consoles. So take a look at Soundfall. There you go. PC, Xbox, Switch, PS4. It's beautiful. All right. So there aren't many games these days you can say only has two buttons. And I'm not talking like old NES games where you had an A and a B button. I'm talking literally you only use two buttons in this game. It's called Necrosphere. It's a Metroidvania kind of roguelike. Well, not even roguelike. Metroidvania with a lot of dying. And so you literally have a left and a right button. That's the only thing you can do in this game. There's no jump button. Everything is done via manipulating the environment. So you've got those little jump bubbles there. Like that's how you get up things. There's no jump button. I didn't see that cool little rocket pack. That's pretty cool. Um, it's super tight. We played it on a mobile device actually, and it was perfect on a phone. But it's also available on PC. It's also, I believe, coming to the Switch. It's available on PC right now. It's $5. It's about 3 hours long, and I don't know. I'm a pretty big believer that 3 hours long is the perfect time for any game. But this has got like kind of a Metroidvania thing where you're going to unlock new parts. It was surprisingly fun for a game that you only use two buttons for. And at first you'd play it and you're like, this is really tricky, and then you get the hang of kind of how you'd bounce off bubbles, how you'd progress through level, how you'd kind of solve getting through levels, and it was really, really enjoyable. So check out Necrosphere. Check it out right now if you want. It's like I said, it's available. It's cool. All right, so God's Trigger is the name of this game, and it is literally a angel and a demon joining up to fight crime, or to kill. I think it's not just crime. You're trying to stop the four horsemen of the apocalypse, so like big time crime. It's co-op. I don't. No, it doesn't have to be co-op because we actually played it single player too. It has a co-op mode. It is shockingly difficult. The bad guys are really, really fast. They're really, really good. It's so easy to just get killed. Has a super fast start over though, so you get killed and you take a different, every level has multiple different ways to get through it, different weapons you can pick up, different ways to approach the, what bad guys you kill. It was really fun, really visceral, and just so, so, so fast. So coming out soon, let's see. PC, Xbox One, and PS4. So pretty much everywhere you'd want to play this except for the Switch. Sorry, Switch people. Really, really fun. So one of the cool things about going to a conference like PAX is you get to see some really unique games that you would probably never see anywhere else, and a lot of those games are in this very specific booth. There's a booth of a bunch of developers from Poland who like all pull together and get this big booth, and they just stuff it full of interesting, unique games. The next two games we're going to talk about are actually from that booth. This one is called Elextrix, and it's the most interesting thing I've ever seen. So what you're actually seeing here is someone actually like disassembling a cell phone in real time, and we actually did this yesterday, and it is really tricky. And the idea is that a customer has brought you a cell phone and said, hey, the battery doesn't work and the screen's flickering and I don't know, it seems to lose power. And so you literally take the entire cell phone apart, look at each component to see what does and doesn't work. You can test things, and like for instance, the one we got, the battery was bad, the screen was bad, and there was like a module, I don't remember what it was, that was just like needed repair. And so you pull it all apart, we put a new screen in it that you have to like, so this we got $250 to do this repair. The screen was $100, the battery was $50, and we fixed this other part. So we're gonna make $100 off this deal. And so you buy the parts, you put it back together. This is actually the thing we did. You go in and solder the pieces that are broken, and then you reassemble it, and then the phone turns on. And what the game part of this is the devices you're fixing, there's a mystery that has to be solved, some sort of story that is brought to you on some of these devices, and you need to fix them in order to go through it. There's cell phones, according to their website. There's also like consoles you'll have to fix, and some old stuff and some new stuff, and maybe even stuff you make. Coming out soon on Steam. My kid literally has not stopped talking about this game since we played. He's like, it's just so different and so like satisfying to like pull a phone all the way apart and then put it back together. I don't know. It was super successful on Kickstarter, so maybe there's something here. It's called Elextrix, and it's coming out pretty soon. All right, last up is My Brother Rabbit. Now, this is another of the games from the Polish developers that we were talking about on the last game. And this is different. This is very different from fixing cell phones. It's a very traditional adventure game. Kind of along the lines of maybe some of the more like Sierra LucasArts kind of classics from the '90s, except that it's first of all just stunningly gorgeous. I mean, absolutely beautifully gorgeous, and a little bit easier. At least the demo part we played, it was not one of those like super hard, nothing makes sense, obtuse, kind of puzzle adventure games. The story behind it is that there's a girl and she's sick, and her brother is telling her these stories to keep her mind off it, and that's where the rabbit comes in. And what you're doing is you're progressing through these stories to kind of progress through her illness and how that affects her life. And I'm hoping that ends in a happy way. I don't know. We'll see. But the puzzle game itself was really, really, really enjoyable. I think it would be a great game you could play as a group, like say on a couch, and a group of people could solve the puzzles together. My kid and I played it together. It was really fun to go, oh, no, you need to click on that thing to open a door. And, oh, there's that thing behind it. And you could combine these two things to make something. So coming out soon on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, and the Switch. So watch out for My Brother Rabbit. All right, that is it for day 2 of PAX. I'm hoping that these little little things I'm doing are actually helpful. There's so many great games at PAX. I wish I could highlight every single one of them, but there's literally just not enough hours in the day to see everything there is to be seen. Maybe if we could get rid of maybe half the people, maybe 3/4 of the people, and I could just go myself, that would be perfect. But if you have feedback on these videos, let me know. It's a format that I'm kind of trying out for both PAX and maybe some other stuff in the future where we've got a bunch of games we want to talk about over videos. Like, for instance, the games coming up that month thing we've been doing. I don't think I'd get rid of the podcast version of it, but I may supplement it with a video version. So let me know if this is something you find helpful, and have a great day, and I'll have another video about day 3 shortly.